right, we are live. Desiree, thank you for joining me on the Happy Whole You podcast.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anna Marie. I am thrilled to be here. I cannot wait to have this conversation with you today. Yay!
I know, yay. All right, what are you going to leave the audience with? People, once they start showing up, we want them to stay. What are you going to be leaving them with today? Because you have some amazing nuggets.
Thank you so much. Yes, I feel like the most important thing that people are going to leave with is the realization that we are our own barrier. We are the only ones stopping us from achieving any goal that we set. And really, how important it is to have a supportive group around you to help you achieve your goals. And really, I think just what we can do to minimize the resistance to achieving our goals.
Yes, minimizing resistance is huge, reducing those barriers. We all have big dreams, aspirations, and where the rubber meets the road, sometimes it can get bumpy. And in your life, you've had quite a few bumps. Can you share with everyone really what got you to being the podcast host, the Amazon influencer, running your own business, and to the space that you're in today?
Yeah, for sure. So to really get to the heart of it, I couldn't be where I am today without the challenge I had set for myself 15 years ago. And at that point, I could not run even to the end of the block. And so I decided I was turning 40 and I was like, I'm going to set this goal for myself to see if I can achieve it. And I used the Couch to 5K app, which was so beneficial. And not that you can't do this on your own, but it worked really well for me because I love that incremental steps and growth. And that's really how, I've kind of gone about everything I've done. And so it really was a journey of one step at a time. And when they say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, it's literally true. You just need to put one foot in front of the other. And that's not to say that it wasn't challenging. There were many days when it was very challenging to get myself out that door. But because it was important to me and I wanted to set a good example for my children, I wanted them to see not only was I trying to be healthy, but that I wanted them to know they could achieve the goals that they set for themselves too, following my example. And so it began with that just simple, 5K app, running just daily, doing whatever the app said to do. And, it was so helpful for me to get that perspective of just do the one thing at a time until you reach your goal. And once I got to that 5K,
Hold
I
on, I want to jump
realized,
in here real quick if you're okay with
go
that.
ahead. Yeah, sure.
What was going on with your life? Why all of a sudden did you say, okay, I can't run to the mailbox, I can't run to the end of the road? What made you want to say, okay, I want to do this 5K? What was in you that were you trying to prove something? Like, what was the pivotal point where you said, I want to get up off my butt and do something challenging? What was taking place in your life? And by the way, your camera is off. I don't know if you turned it off or
No, I am trying to get it to launch again. I think that the cable has just come loose and it's just decided it doesn't want to
okay. No worries.
work today. So
Okay.
I'll work on it, but we'll keep going. So honestly, Dr. Anna Marie, it was really about just trying to prove to myself that I could do something that I never thought I could do before. I was the person at school in gym class who hated to run the mile. I didn't want to run the mile. It just was physically really challenging for me. And, I really think it was because I didn't have the cardio strength. It's something that you have to build up if you're going to be running. And so I just decided I was going to see if I could do it. That's all it boiled down to is, could I make it work? Could I physically get myself off the couch, out the door, and down the street? And so that's really what it all boils down to.
So once you did this and you completed your 5K, how did just having this discipline of that one step and just beginning, how did that spill over into now what you are doing with the podcasting and the other things you have going on in your life? Because I know that that was like the stepping stone of really realizing like you can do anything if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, it really was. And I think that ultimately it was, what else do I want to achieve? And using the same kind of mindset around stepping out and stepping up and doing the 5K. And so when it came time to, launch the podcast, which was, 10 plus years down the line, I realized that I wanted to showcase amazing women, women who had incredible knowledge that they could share with others, and really help people grow and become like the best version of themselves. And so this is where it ties in, because I wanted to be the best version of myself. I wanted to help others, achieve that same thing, just in whatever aspect,
Mhm.
whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's for your career, any of that. It's like, how can we take these steps to make that happen? And so that was kind of my thought around why I wanted to start the podcast to begin with. I knew incredible women, including yourself, who I had met through hosting the podcast. And you just have so much incredible information that needs to be shared with as many people as possible. And so that's it.
Yes. Okay, well, there's probably people out there that have thought about starting a podcast, and it may seem like this big, gigantuous thing, but if we're taking the steps one step at a time, what are some tips you have for those that are curious about starting their podcast? Like, where do they start? What are some things that they can start diving into just to get the ball rolling?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that the first thing is, well, there's so many great tools now to make this a simple process. So I think that even just the 4.5 years since I launched my show, there are more tools available to us now that make it even easier. And so that in itself makes the barrier lower to get into this. But you've got to, have some idea of what it is that's important for you, that you want to share with the world. And, if it's not your own ideas per se, but you have a concept that you want to share, like I have guests on my show for every episode. And it's not that I don't have my own thoughts and things I want to share with the audience, but I feel like the gist of my show is, how can as many incredible people share this information with as many people as we can get. Um, and so I think the first thing is, have a great idea. You've got to have a concept behind it and a passion about it, because otherwise, on the days when it's really challenging, like right now, and you have tech issues and your camera's not working and you can't figure out why, you still want to do it, because again, it goes back to reducing the barriers. It's going to be hard. There's going to be days that are challenging, and the work behind it, while it is easier now with the software, it still does take some time. It's time consuming. And so you have to really be passionate about it. But I would just say, Google search software. We're using StreamYard right now to go live. I use Zoom to record my shows and then host them later on Apple Podcast and Spotify, YouTube. You can really stream this anywhere now. People love to listen or watch on whatever platform's convenient for them, but there's so many great tools that you can use. I love Descript for editing my show. I think that's tremendous. And Opus Pro is another good one for giving you clips and reels and shorts. So there's fabulous tools. Just do a little bit of research and see what you can find.
Yeah, and I always believe, analysis can equal a paralysis. So when I started mine, it was like I was in my closet with my cell phone and I just had a recording app. And so the first, I don't even know how many episodes were just audio. They were not even video. I don't even know when I got into video, maybe after 75 episodes, maybe even 100 episodes. And I still do have closet moments where I have an idea or I want to talk about something and I just go in my closet and I just record. And that's why and we're at over 260 episodes now, but there's quite a few that are audio only. And so it's just been an evolution, but I think jumping in the space, and you're right, having that good idea and just getting your first one recorded and up, I feel like is probably the biggest challenge that I found, because there also is some nerves to it of, okay, I'm going to like record my voice, I'm going to put this out there, and then there's that worry, what if nobody listens? And but getting the first one up and going is I think is incredible. And then the networking, I love how, we met through podcasting. And my friend Courtney, who I believe she connected me with you, she and I met through podcasting. So it's really great how you end up finding your tribe and how you all come together. And it's really fun. And I learned so much from people that I'm interviewing. One of the things that you were talking about is the importance of the people around you and the group around you. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Well, I'll go back to running. And for me, getting ultimately to running two 50K trail races. And for those of you who don't know the conversion, that's, over 31 miles of trail races. So it's like elevation. Thank you. Yeah, no, I know it's tremendous. And believe me, when I was not even being able to run a 5K, there's no way I ever thought I'd get to a 50K. But it's that evolution, right? You accomplish one goal, you set the next goal, you keep working and striving. But I absolutely credit my success to doing that because I had an incredible group of runners that I connected with through a nationwide group. Actually, it's called She Runs This Town.
I
Initially,
like that. She runs this town.
yeah, so it's kind of like that play on words, right? It was Moms Run This Town, and then evolved into She Runs This Town because it's all inclusive, right? And so the point is that I had those gals that I was running with every day. And there's another thing right there is the accountability aspect of it. When you've got people who are counting on you, you show up. I think we show up for others more than we show up for ourselves.
It's so true.
Yeah. And so they were waiting, and I knew I had to be there because they were counting on me so that we could run together. Because most of the time as moms, we're running at 5 o'clock in the morning before the kids get up and the day gets started. Right. And so it's dark, really dark at that time in the morning. And, you don't want to be running by yourself. So
No.
yeah, the accountability was huge, really in helping that come to be. And so finding whatever it is, if it's podcasting, it's joining groups that are on Facebook for, find a guest, host. There's that kind of like, well, I'm looking for a guest. Well, I'm looking for a host. And you can connect with people through fabulous groups there. Podmatch is another fantastic resource where you can find and or host your show. Gosh, again, it's just about having people that are with you on the journey and want to see you succeed, just as much as you want to.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is being around the people that want to see you succeed and will push you and remind you of what have you said you wanted to achieve? What goals do you have? The people that when you're not in the room, but somebody's talking about something where they can connect you and say, hey, I know somebody. And I think it's so important to surround ourselves with those types of people. And yeah, it's very, very important. I didn't really fully understand that until I was in my 30s of, the people that you're surrounded with. It's that, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with or whatnot. And that I like I said, I didn't even realize that until I was in my 30s, and I started to really pay attention of the conversations I was having, who I was allowing in my space, and how I was showing up for other people as well. So it's a really, really important thing to pay attention to, because I think sometimes, especially when I go talk to groups, they'll say, oh, well, I can't help who I work with, so I can't get away from these people. But what we can do is we can shift the conversations. We can shift how we're showing up. And, over time that can help shift, what's going on within the groups that you're maybe naturally going to be around anyways due to your job or what else you have going on in your life. So, okay, and then as you don't just do the podcasting, you've also stepped into really supporting small businesses online as an Amazon influencer and working on like finding great deals and good products. I have no idea what that Amazon influencer, any of that is like. How did you get into that? And yeah, like how did you even get into that? Like, how does one even do that?
Sure. Well, it really came about because we were business owners that sold on Amazon. And
Mhm.
so for years, my husband was like, it'd be so great if you did videos for the products that we have shown on Amazon. And at the time, I was like, no, I don't want to be in front of a camera. That's not my thing. I have no interest in doing that. And so for years, I fought it. And eventually, it was, gosh, almost 3 years ago now, I just realized, you know what? Here's just one more thing that I should try. I should see if I can do it because what the heck, right? Like,
Why
why
not?
not give it a try?
Yeah.
And so this is kind of how I've done a lot of things. It's like, it's exciting, it's scary. Can I do it? That sort of questioning. Am I capable? I mean, of course I'm capable, but we stop ourselves so much because we're scared. We're
Mhm.
afraid to try something new. And you mentioned in there before about when you started your podcast, it was you're just like, I don't know who's going to be listening. I don't know how it's going to sound, and absolutely that was true for me as well when I started both the podcast and shooting the videos regarding the products. But I just decided it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what somebody else thinks. Of course, they're going to have opinions about it, but does that really matter to me? And there's a great expression, and it goes something like, other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
Yes.
And so I would remind myself of that. It's like, I'm sure people are going to have an opinion about the products I'm sharing, how I'm sharing it, what I look like, whatever. And I just decided I didn't care. It just wasn't going to bother me. And the most important thing was that I was sharing great products that I found, and also kind of showcasing brands that were small business. And I'm not sure if you know this, but if you're looking at an Amazon listing, there's a little kind of icon that says small business. And that's how you know that these are kind of mom and pop shops
Mm.
that are selling through the Amazon platform, which is what we did for years in both of our businesses. And so you're really supporting not just the company, but you're supporting the employees of that brand, and probably their community as well. Because when you think about where they're shopping, where they're taking their kids to dance lessons or
Yeah.
whatever, that money is going to the community when it boils down to it. So I try to focus on really great brands, really good pricing, finding good dupes, as they say, right? It's like, here's a product that's just as good that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg.
Mhm. Yeah. That's great. So what would you share with somebody who maybe they're somehow this landed on their screen or in their ear and they're listening and they have an idea, they have something they want to do, and yet they feel paralyzed to take the first step. What advice would you give to someone to shift gears into taking action versus sitting back and sitting on that couch?
I think there has to be a little bit of, I just don't care what the results are going to be.
Mm.
You have to have a little bit of, this is an experiment. I'm going to just try this and see how it feels, see how I do, see how it goes. And remember that nobody knows how to ride a bicycle the minute you get on it. It's experimenting, it's figuring out how fast I have to go, how hard I have to pedal. There's so many parts to it, but you don't know that until you try, until you actually get on and do it. And so it's the same thing with starting anything new. I mean, you could be talking about painting, you could be talking about writing, starting a podcast, writing a book. It's a product that you invented because it's been helpful for you and you decide you want to start a business. It could be anything related. You just have to try.
Yeah, I agree. I think honestly, if we all knew all the steps that it would entail to run a business, start a podcast, have children, be married, like if we really knew what we were getting ourselves into, I think naturally we'd all be like, I'll pass. That seems like a lot of work. But the reality is, it's taking that first step, and the next step will be illuminated because we often don't know all the steps, and that's okay. And I think that's the biggest thing, is helping people get past the idea that they think they need to know it all and they need to know it all now and how to do it all. We live in such an informational age that often we're like, okay, the information is out there, so I need to consume and figure all this out before I even begin. And I say, warning, I wouldn't do that, because analysis again is going to equal paralysis. And so it's like, what is the first step you can take, and then see what's uncovered to you next. And because the brain also loves novelty. So as we get into these things and we start to discover the newness of them, it rewards our brain with that dopamine versus feeling like we need to know everything ahead of time, because and everything's not going to go exactly as planned, as seen here on this live with your video not working. And this is just what
Yep.
happens in life.
Exactly. And you're so right. If we knew 20 steps down the line how something was going to go, we might not attempt to do it. But what's interesting is what you discover about yourself when you get to step 20 or step 21. And it's like, wow, I never thought I could do that. And yet here I am doing this. And, so it's just, again, just take that first step, just learn as you go. And I know that can be frightening, and absolutely is scary when you don't know all the ins and outs of something. But sometimes we aren't supposed to know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we aren't supposed to know every single outcome of every single thing we do. And there's been things that I have tried that haven't worked like I thought that they would. And that's okay, because again, I've just gone about this as I'm experimenting. I'm trying to see if it works, if I like it. And you discover so much about yourself when you do that. I've learned what I do like, what I don't like, what I will tolerate, what I won't tolerate, and what I am capable of. So I think it's really, again, you just have to try and then learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Desiree, is there anything else you want to share with anyone that is just sitting there on the edge of their couch thinking, maybe I should do a 5K, maybe I should start a podcast, maybe I should do that business, maybe I should take that trip? Is there any last words of wisdom you'd like to give them?
I would say that the purpose of trying anything is discovering who you are. And you won't know until you give it a try. And so again, it may not be successful, but it may be. And you just don't know unless you attempt it. And just like I never had any idea I would be able to run a 50K trail race until I got there, you just have to try.
I love it. All right, friends, we want you to get out there. We want you to try something. Don't worry about the outcome. Just get yourself out there, give it a try. And Desiree, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for your tips, your words of wisdom, and all that you shared today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's wonderful to be here.